Dear students, my friends, and the teacher colleagues, today I am introducing the cell biology and especially this topic has been selected for the class 11 students who are just beginning their session, although it is much late, 3 months late, because of the pandemic corona. Normally, the syllabus begins with classification of the living organisms and it is said that the organisms belong to either prokaryote or eukaryote. So without a basic knowledge of the cell, its type, differences between the various types of cells, I don't think that it would be better to classify the organism, whether it is 2 kingdom classification, 5 kingdom classification, or the 6 kingdom classification. At first, I shall just revise the difference between prokaryote and eukaryote, and then between the fungi, plants and animals on the basis of their cell structure. So let us begin with the discoveries of the cell and cell organelles. The history begins with the work of Robert Hooke. It was later on discussed that the cells are considered as the structural and functional units of life. If there is no cell or the cell-like organization, the particle is not living, and in this view, the virus has not a cell-level organization, hence a cellular and a non-living particle. However, it is regarded as a connecting link between non-living molecules and the living organisms. Robert Hooke at first cut a very thin section of cork and observed it under microscope and found a large number of polyhedral air-filled chambers in it. For these small chambers that looked like the chambers of honeycomb, he used the term cell. It was the year 1656 when this observation was made. Many people say that Robert Hooke discovered the cell. For the medical aspirant students, this statement will be hazardous because Robert Hooke observed a dead cell that was dead more than 1 or 2 years earlier. It was a cork, so he observed the empty areas surrounded by the cell wall. It contained no living cell as we consider now And therefore, if the question is asked, Robert Hooke discovered what? You have to answer, he discovered the cell wall. And who used the term cell for the first time for a biological object? Then you will write that it was Robert Hooke. The first living cell was discovered and described by Anton van Leeuwenhoek in 1672, who discovered bacteria from the scratches of teeth and Vorticella, a protozoa from the pond water. So in fact, the real cell, in the true sense of cell, was discovered by Leeuwenhoek, and he is honored as the father of microbiology because he discovered bacteria and protozoa. In his laboratory, two important scientists also helped in the observation. John Ham described the spermatozoa and John Cortai described liquid component inside the cell. This liquid component was later on described as sarcode by Dujardin and protoplasm by Purkinje. So if a question arises, who discovered protoplasm, you have to answer the name John Cortai. And who gave the name protoplasm, you will answer Purkinje. Purkinje did not discover. He gave the present name protoplasm, and earlier to him Dujardin had said it's sarcode because he studied the protoplasm in the muscle cell. The discoverer was John Cortai. Now come to the cell theory. Matthias Schleiden, a German botanist in 1838, and Theodore Swan, a British zoologist, in the same year studied a large number of plants and animal cells and proposed the famous cell theory. Later on, Rudolf Virchow in 1855 also contributed some knowledge to this theory. According to Schleiden, Swan and Virchow, there are three important points. All organisms, small or large, have the body made of cells. So these are structural units. The organisms are living only till their cells are functional, otherwise dead. Functional, where the function occurs? The function occurs inside the protoplasm. And protoplasm is a complex mixture of organic and inorganic chemicals, various enzymes, and therefore it performs the metabolism, and metabolism is essential for the life in the living cells. So till there is performance of metabolism in the protoplasm, the cell is alive. If the metabolism stops, the cell becomes dead. Therefore, the term non-living and dead should be differentiated. Those who were alive can become dead, but that had no life, never life, is already non-living. The living can die, not the non-living. So the cells are also functional units of living organism. Many of the scientists of that time or the earlier had stated that a caterpillar can develop in the wheat flour, or in a solution of fruit. They thought that there is de novo origin, that is self-origin from the organic material to the living organism. But the origin took place more than 3,000 million years ago from the non-living into the living cells. Now it cannot occur. So Virchow said, omnis cellula e cellula. That means there is no self or de novo origin of a cell or organism. The cells originate by division and differentiation of pre-existing cell. So from the wheat flour, you cannot get a life without having a earlier cell. And what was the earlier cell there? It was the eggs of the insects that the people could not see. So you will remember these 3 points. Cells are structural units, cells are functional unit, and the cells originate by division and differentiation of pre-existing cells. So it is cell theory. Now let us give a list of the cell organelles discovered one after another with time. The first one is Robert Brown discovered nucleus, a dense body in the center of cell that he named nucleus. You too can see the nucleus without staining it if you change the light refraction of the microscope. So just he observed a dense structure within the center of protoplasm and named it nucleus. Hofmeister in 1857 discovered nuclear filaments at the time of division of microspore mother cell in the plant Tradescantia. He just used the name nuclear filament, but later on its staining technique was developed and it was found that it has high affinity with the coloring dyes such as the hematoxylin, acetocarmine and many others, and therefore Valdeir used the name 18 chromosomes in 1888. So discovery was made by Hofmeister. A staining technique was developed by Strasburger that I have not mentioned here. It will be mentioned when chromosomes will be discussed separately. And the present name chromosome is given by Valdeir. Their detailed structure was studied by Strasburger in 1872 after staining with iron hematoxylin. He also described different stages of mitosis. Hematoxylin is when made in the laboratory. Alum is used. Normally in the laboratory, sodium, potassium, alum is used, but it should be the iron 3 alum, and therefore here the name iron hematoxylin has been given. In 1859, a small granular structures were observed in the muscle cells of some insect by Colliker that was named as sarcoplast. But the term plast was confused with the chloroplast and chromoplast or leucoplast like thing found in the plant cells, the plastids. Fleming in 1882 developed their staining technique by using neutral red B. The first stain that could stain mitochondria was the neutral red B. Now in the laboratory a much superior dye, Janus green, is used. So remember the stain neutral red B was used by Fleming, and in laboratory we use Janus green. It is a vital or supravital stain that does not kill mitochondria. The present name mitochondria was given by Benda. Earlier it was named as bioplast by Altman, but mitochondria term was given by Benda, that is the thread-like bodies. In 1898, a tubular complex was observed near nucleus of the nerve cells by Camillo Golgi. It was later on named as Golgi complex, Golgi apparatus, or simply Golgi body. But its confirmation was not made at that time. It was made in 1949 when it was again observed under electron microscope. Before discovery of electron microscope, we could see the chromosomes, mitochondria, and Camillo Golgi observed the Golgi complex. Knoll and Ruska, these were engineers, in 1931 invented electron microscope. It was marketed in 1944 because of the Second World War. Now, Porter and Palladay were lucky that they got the electron microscope at first, and along with their co-workers, they discovered endoplasmic reticulum and confirmed the structure of Golgi complex. They also studied the fine structure of mitochondria. The lysosomes were discovered by D. Duve. In the same year, 1953, Beneden discovered centrosome or the centriole. In 1954, Robinson and Brown discovered ribosomes in plant cell, and later on Palladay and Porter found them in the animal cells also. So these are all the important discoveries made time to time regarding the cell organelles. Now, what are the type of cells? Depending on the increasing structure and functional complexities, the cells may be prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Remember, the dinoflagellates have been called mesokaryote, but in cell biology, there is no mention of a third type of cell. Only the two types, prokaryotes and eukaryotes, have been mentioned. The eukaryotes may be distinguished into plant-like, that is fungi, dinoflagellates, and the plantae, or the animal-like, that is animalia forms. In the two kingdom classification, there was a simple observation: if cell wall is present, the organism is plant, and if cell wall is absent, the organism is an animal. But now the plants have undergone so many breakages. Now the bacteria are separate. They form the kingdom Monera. Fungi form another kingdom. Dinoflagellates, being unicellular, are put into the third kingdom, that is Protista. and only the multicellular organism containing cellulosic cell walls are regarded as plants. Pro means first or primitive, U means advanced, and karyon, normally it means nucleus, but sometimes the term karyon is used also for the chromosome. So the prokaryotes are primitive structures with primitive nucleus. Eukaryotes have advanced type of nucleus. Let us see one by one. What are the prokaryotes? The prokaryotes have primitive forms of nucleus, also known as incipient nucleus, made of a naked circular DNA. Naked circular DNA. What is difference from the normal DNA? Normal DNA in the plants and animals are straight, made of two strands. However, these are linear and these are coated with a basic protein histone. Here, the two terminals of DNA join together and form a circular or ring-like structure, and these have not been coated with any protein, so it is naked, and they become bunched together to form a nucleus-like structure commonly called nucleoid. In addition to the main chromosome, they may possess a few small circular DNA known as plasmid DNA. Don't be confused with plastid. It is plasmid. While answering the objective question, you must not make hurry, otherwise you will miss the right term. It is the plasmid DNA. It is extra and a smaller DNA present in the prokaryote cells. It may bear an useful, a functional gene, or may not bear any gene expressed in the cell. They have no intracellular membrane. The only membrane present in prokaryote is the plasma membrane that surrounds the entire protoplasm, but within the protoplasm there is no intracellular membrane, and therefore the membrane bound cell organelles like the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosome, secretive vesicles, as well as nuclear membranes are absent. They also have no mitochondria and no plastid. Neither mitochondria nor plastid is present in prokaryote cell because these are made of the membranes. They have no microtubules. It is a new thing, not dealt at the level of class 9th. These are very thin protein tubules known as microtubules. They form a thicker filaments, microfilaments, and by association of the microtubules and microfilaments, cytoendoskeleton is formed. A network of cytoplasmic endoskeleton is formed. They also contribute in formation of cilium, flagellum, spindle fiber, and centriole. So because microtubules and microfilaments are absent, the prokaryotes do not possess cytoendoskeleton, cilia, flagella, spindle fiber, and centrosome. It simply means that prokaryotes lack most of the cell organelle. One name I have not mentioned here. If you memorize the names of cell organelles, you can find out I have not mentioned one name. I have mentioned endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosome, mitochondria, plastids, nuclear membrane. These are all absent. So what is not absent? It is the ribosome. The prokaryotes also contain ribosome like our cell or a plant cell. Prokaryotes form kingdom Monera, including structures or organisms like mycoplasmas, bacteria and blue-green algae. Now blue-green algae are called cyanobacteria. And along with that, there is an archaebacteria, very ancient bacteria. So at least these four groups, the mycoplasma, eubacteria, archaebacteria and cyanobacteria must be discussed at the level of 11. What are the mycoplasmas? These are fungus-like prokaryotes causing pleuropneumonia in the cattle and leprosy in human being. They have no capsule and no cell wall. These are the smallest known cell, hardly of the size 0.2 micrometer or less. When it was discovered by Pasteur in 1843, he named it pleuropneumonia-like organism, PPLO. The present name Mycoplasma was given by Novak in 1929 for the PPLO. These bacteria have no cell wall, so they can change their shape. That is, the structure is pleuromorphic, many morphological forms, and therefore sometimes these are also named as jokers of microbiology. Jokers change their face to make the people laugh at him, and similarly the mycoplasmas also change their shape. Now let us know about bacterial cell wall. These are different from the plant cell wall and therefore not member of plant kingdom. The bacterial cell walls are extremely thin, between 100 to 250 angstrom thickness. It is made of mucopeptide or murein or peptidoglycan. The same thing is named differently in different books, but in terms of biochemistry, the correct word is peptidoglycan. Peptide means protein and glycan, the compound related to carbohydrate. Why related to carbohydrate? These are made of alternating molecules of N-acetyl glucosamine and N-acetyl muramic acid. So pure glucose is not there. It is the N-acetyl glucosamine and N-acetyl muramic acid coming alternate to each other, forming a long chain. Now there was a scientist, Christian Gram. In 1884 he developed a staining technique to stain bacterial cell wall. He used crystal violet and iodine reagent. They make the cells blue. To remove the extra stain, he washed them with alcohol. He found that some bacterial cell wall retain the blue color, whereas some are completely washed away. So those bacteria in which color is washed away are gram negative, and those in which blue color is there, these are gram positive. On this basis, the two groups of bacteria are made gram negative and gram positive. Now, what is the difference? What are the difference between gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria? The negative bacteria have thinner cell wall containing varieties of amino acids. They also contain sulfur-containing amino acid, the cysteine and methionine, but a compound teichoic acid is absent. The lipid is present but not very high. In the gram-positive bacteria, however, the cell wall is very thick. Only 10 to 12 amino acids are there. Fewer amino acids are there. The sulfur-containing amino acids, cysteine and methionine are absent. Teichoic acid is present in the gram-positive bacteria, and in fact the blue color developed by the iodide and crystal violet is because these stains react with teichoic acid. Now, sometimes it is said that bacteria have flagella, but I earlier told that the bacteria do not contain, the prokaryotes do not contain cilia and flagella, because a true cilia or flagella is made of microtubules and microfilaments. So what is the structure similar to flagellum in bacteria? It is made of protein without having any microfilament like structure. It is just solid protein fiber. It does not appear from any basal granule. Rather, there are some plates to anchor them in the cell wall and plasma membrane. In the cell wall, two plates L and P are there, and in cell membrane, M and S rings are present. The gram-positive bacteria contain only one ring attached to the cell membrane. The basal part of the flagellum form a wider hook of 17 nanometer diameter, from which the thin filament of 13.5 nanometer appears. You can see the diagram of the basal part of the bacterial filament. You can see there are two rings in the cell wall and two rings in the near the plasma membrane. This is the basal part containing hook-like structure of 17 nm, and the apical parts is 13.5 nm. This perifilament is confused with the flagellum of plants and animals. Now, protoplasm, as there is no nuclear membrane, bacterial protoplasm is not differentiated into nucleoplasm and cytoplasm, neither into the ectoplasm and endoplasm. They have no endomembranal system comprising endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex and lysosome. The only cell organelle are the bacterial chromosomes, that is the ring-like DNA, and the ribosomes. Ribosomes are most essential part of all living cell because it is the only structure that can form the protein molecule. DNA and protein, these two chemicals are essential for life. These ribosomes are smaller with sedimentation coefficient only 70s and with two subunits 30s and 50s. You will study a structure of ribosome of prokaryotes and eukaryotes later on in separate topics. These are separately scattered in the protoplasm, which are the two subunits 30s and 50s are scattered separately freely in the protoplasm, and they join together at the time of protein synthesis. Sometimes on a single messenger RNA, a number of ribosomes become attached and each form separate polypeptide chain. In that condition, messenger RNA plus many ribosomes together are called polysome or polyribosome. In the protoplasm, some lipid globules may be found. Now you have to remember one point here. In the blue-green algae, there are few intracellular membranes similar to the thylakoid membrane of plastids, the chloroplast of the plants. And these thylakoid membranes also bear chlorophyll A, carotene and some other pigments. So it is just exception, but the organelle is not formed. Chloroplast-like or plastid-like organelle is not formed. Now come to the eukaryote cells. As the name suggests, these are cells with advanced type of nucleus. They have nuclear membrane dividing the protoplasm into inner nucleoplasm, and out of nucleus there is cytoplasm. So nucleoplasm and cytoplasm together is called protoplasm. The cytoplasm itself can be divided in ectoplasm and endoplasm, especially in the animal cells, in which vacuoles are rarely found. But in plant cells, a large vacuole develops in protoplasm that pushes everything towards the periphery, and the difference of ectoplasm and endoplasm is lost. In the cytoplasm, most cell organelles, including endoplasmic reticulum, are confined inside endoplasm. These cell organelles are not found near the plasma membrane, not in the ectoplasm. Ectoplasm is devoid of cell organelles, so the ectoplasm is also known as hyaloplasm. Sometimes some teacher may tell you that endoplasm connects plasma membrane with the nuclear membrane. He is absolutely wrong. He does not know what he is saying. In some books, when the origin of endoplasm was discussed, a figure was drawn to show how the plasma membrane could have been invaginated into protoplasm to form the endoplasmic reticulum or the mitochondria, etc. But that was the discussion about the origin of the eukaryotic cell. It is not the present situation of the eukaryotic cell. Here the endoplasm appears in the endoplasm itself. Endoplasmic reticulum is confined to endoplasm itself. It does not go into the ectoplasm. So there is no question of attachment to plasma membrane. Inside nucleus, well-defined chromosomes are present. A linear double-stranded DNA is condensed with basic protein histone to form dark staining chromosomes. It is thread-like structures in higher plants and animals, but amorphous in lower group, where you cannot differentiate the shape, the number of the chromosome. They just look like cluster of the chemicals called chromatin. The nucleus contains a ball-like dark staining body known as nucleolus. but it is not an independent cell organelle. When I shall discuss about the chromosome, I will show that it is part of the chromosome itself. In plants and animal cells, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex and mitochondria are present with only a few exceptions. The plant cells also contain plastids of different types. Chloroplast is one of them to produce glucose by photosynthesis, but the animal cells don't possess any type of the plastid. The fungi, earlier thought as plant, don't possess any plastid. So neither the fungus nor the animal cell contain plastid. Plastids are found only in the plant-like Protista and the true plants, true multicellular plants. They have cytoendoskeleton made of microtubules and microfilaments that maintain shape of the cell as well as hold the cell organelles at their places. I mean to say, the mitochondria or plastid are not free-flowing. They cannot move freely because these are bound to the surfaces of microtubules and microfilaments. The fungal and plant cells have one or more vacuoles. The cytoplasm and the cell organelles are therefore pushed towards periphery, and there is no differentiation of ectoplasm and endoplasm. The plant cells also do not contain centrosome. These are absent also in most of the Protista, but they form the spindle fibers. The plant and fungal cells have cell walls outside their plasma membrane, though they differ in their chemical nature. Plants have cellulosic cell wall made of cellulose, a pure polysaccharide, but fungi have chitin. Chitin is made of glucosamine. Now let us see the difference. Prokaryotes evolved earlier in water. Eukaryotes evolved later on. Prokaryotes have no nuclear membrane. Eukaryotes have nuclear membrane. In prokaryote, protoplasm is not divided into nucleoplasm and cytoplasm. In eukaryotes, nucleoplasm and cytoplasm is differentiated because there is nuclear membrane. The membrane-bound cell organelles are absent in prokaryote but present in the eukaryote. Microtubules and microfilaments are absent in prokaryote, and therefore true flagella and cilia are absent. Spindle fibers are not formed. In the eukaryotes, these microtubules and microfilaments are present, so they can have true flagella and true cilia. Spindle fibers also are formed. In animal cells, centriole also is formed. The size of prokaryotic ribosome is 70S, it is smaller, with two subunits 30S and 50S. These two subunits are freely suspended in protoplasm, but in eukaryotes the larger ribosomes are 80S. They have two subunits 40S and 60S. The larger subunit is found mostly bound on the surface of endoplasmic reticulum. So sometimes you can be asked a tricky question. In eukaryote, ribosome is bound to endoplasmic reticulum, but why in prokaryote ribosome is not bound to endoplasmic reticulum? You will say endoplasmic reticulum is not there in the prokaryote, so there is no question of binding the ribosome to their surface. Chromosomes are made of only DNA. Coat of histone protein is not formed in prokaryote. And in eukaryote, chromosomes are made of DNA coated with histone protein. Mitochondria is absent in prokaryote, so most of them have anaerobic respiration. In eukaryote, mitochondria is present, so they mostly have aerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration can occur only when there is absence of oxygen. Prokaryotes divide by binary fission. It is a simple type of cell division evolved earlier to the evolution of mitosis. But eukaryotes can divide by binary fission, mitosis, and also sometimes by meiosis when there is sexual reproduction in their life cycle. If there is no sexual reproduction, there is no meiosis. The last differences are prokaryotes have no cell cycle. Mitosis is part of cell cycle. And when prokaryote has no cell cycle, it means there is no mitosis. In eukaryotes, cell cycle is there. There are interphase and mitosis phases. The prokaryotes are mostly heterotrophs except the blue-green algae. I told earlier that blue-green algae have thylakoid membrane-like structure and chlorophyll, so they can photosynthesize. But most others have no photosynthesis and therefore they are heterotrophs, mostly saprotroph or the parasite. But the eukaryotes are autotroph due to presence of the chloroplast in the plant cells, and heterotroph if these are animals. Eukaryote may be autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. Now see the structure of a typical plant cell. You can see there is cell wall outside. It is painted green here. Protoplasm is inside it. These are the cell organelle, mitochondria, Golgi complex, again mitochondria. The greens are, these green structures are the plastids. This is the nucleus pushed to one side and a very large vacuole is present in its center. The typical animal cell do not contain cell wall, and you can see nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, some secretive vesicles there. This is the Golgi complex in the lower half. And in some cases, secretive vesicles burst at the surface by a process called exocytosis. So a depressed cup-like structure you can see there. It is another diagram of the eukaryotic cell. All details are similar, but here the flagellum is being made along with some small microvilli. These microvilli are found in our intestine to increase the surface area for better absorption of the digested food material. So the microvilli are not found in all the cell. Neither flagellum is present in all the cell. More common is the cilia present in our respiratory tract in the higher animals and in the epithelium, epiderm of many of the lower animals. These are the fine structures of the cilia present on the surface, microvilli present on the surface of, these are cilia present on the surface of animal cells. This photograph is a electron micrograph. Now you can differentiate plant cell with animal cell. Cell wall is present in plant cell, absent in animal cell. Plastids are present in plant cells but absent in animal cell. Plants are autotrophic, sometimes these are parasitic. But animals are mostly or always heterotrophic. Centrosome is absent in plant cell, but these are present in the animal cells. Spindle fibers are formed from equator to pole in plant cells, but the spindle fibers are formed from pole to pole in animal cells. Virtually in plant cells, lysosomes are absent, but there are lysosomal enzymes. In the animal cells, especially the secretory cells, the phagocytic WBC cells, lysosomes are present. It is absent in our RBC. RBC in fact lacks even Golgi complex and mitochondria. Mammalian RBC lacks nucleus as well. The plant cells divide by cell plate formation and the animal cells divide by constriction at the equator. So you know now everything about the normal structure of a cell, and you can now differentiate between prokaryote, eukaryote, plant cells and animal cells. Thank you very much.